Hello, folks. This is Dr. Jones. You'll notice as we look at this that I have an article pulled up. If you have already watched the ABI Inform search, you will have seen me get to this. You don't need to do that for this lecture. I'm going to show you what I want you to do for an article review. So, this lecture is about how to do your abstracting out your article reviews for an article that you find in any one of the assignments that I have, whether it's Business Source Complete, ABI Inform, Nexus, any of those. I want you to use the same kind of format of how to pull things down, okay? So the very first thing that you want to do is you want to find an article. So let's assume that you've done that. That's what I did with this one. I did a search back here, and I made a choice. I could have looked at any number of others out there, but I made the choice to select this. It's a scholarly journal, the Journal of Business Ethics. It happens to be within the last 5 years publication date, and that was something that I was looking for. And I was looking at the time for an article with an ethics subject and something about product placement. It just happened to be that's what I was looking for at this time. You don't have to look for product placement. You can be looking for something else. I just want you to look for something with an ethics subject to it. And so go watch the other videos to see how to do that. But in this video, what I'm looking at is what do you do with it once you've found it? Well, the template that I have provided to you, the article review template, looks like this when you pull it up. And here's what I want you to do. The very first thing is you need to put your name into this one. And this is going to be about an ABI Inform article, as you can see. That doesn't mean you can only use this template with ABI Inform. It's just that's the one that we're doing. So I want to go ahead and save this, but you need to save it. Remember the instructions when you pull this template file up say that you need to save it with your name and the assignment on there. So I need to save whatever you do, whatever folder you have, you need to do. You need to put it in a folder on your files, whatever you do. Do my last name, the underscore, that's the underline key on your keyboard, and then what the assignment is. And this one happens to be ABI Inform. I just shorted it to ABI. I don't want to put the slash in there because when you if I put this in there, that tells the computer to do something else. So this is fine. If you wanted to do ABI underscore inform, that's fine. I don't care. But this would tell me as the instructor, I know which assignment you're submitting out there. It's got your last name. It's got enough of the assignment in it. I know what you're doing. So save that off. That way you're not saving it as the article template, and then you've got to go back through and delete all the stuff when you do the Business Source Complete. You can save the template clean and pristine and then be able to use it for each of your assignments. And always, if you have a problem and you mess up your file, you can always go back into Moodle and download my file again. Okay, authors. Well, that's not me. I've already put my name up there. I need the authors for this article. Okay, so I can go to abstract and details. There's some details in here. These are the authors, Lynn Eagle and Stefan Dahl. Okay, so I want to do, we're not doing APA format right now. I'm just putting stuff that are in there. So Lynn Eagle, Stefan Dahl. Now, it's important that you do Stefan, not Stephen, because it's Stefan Dahl and Lynn Eagle. Spell the names correct, okay? Now, they might be doctors, we don't know. But when academics publish, we don't put Dr. so and so on there. Um, we just put our names because we trust that each other we're scholars. We don't have to use the word doctor. Now, it's a respectful term, so you calling me Dr. Jones or Dr. J, which is also fun, you calling me that, that's a term of respect here as we're talking, but that's not what we do in publications out there. So we just leave it with Lynn Eagle and Stefan Dahl. Publication date. When did this get published? The publication date is February of 2018. Now, if we were doing APA, we would simply do the 2018 unless it were a weekly or daily publication out there, or even monthly publication out there. So we know that the publication year is 2018, and that is close enough for us, what we're doing. What's the article title? Well, you know what? You can retype it, or you can do copy, paste. And notice I keep it in text only because what happens if I just copy and paste that whole thing out? If I do this, that's what it does. It changes the font on it. You don't need the font to get changed. So keep it text only and just put that in there right there. Don't need to use quotation marks. Again, we're not doing an APA citation at the moment. So you would just put this in there. No underlining, no italics, just leave it as it is. And you'll notice that it's made this a little wider. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. What's the journal this is in? Again, we'll go down here. Publication title, Journal of Business Ethics. Copy. Paste it out there. Journal volume. I can type this one. That is 147. Journal number or issue is 3. Pages 605 to 618. Then what's the article abstract? Again, I want you to just go up and cut and paste. In other words, I'm going to have to go a little bit more than that, aren't I? Okay. I want you to put the actual abstract in there. And the reason is I want you to be able to do your own summary, and I don't want you to summarize from the abstract. I need you to put in there what it is. You'll notice that Word says, hey, well, wait a minute, that looks like that's misspelled. Well, you could probably tell the way they spelled recognize that these people are British, and that's perfectly fine with me. Now, here's where you come in. You need to give me, after reading the article, going back to the article itself, after reading the article, what do you consider to be the central question? What is it that the people are trying to figure out? They're going to tell you in there, but you need to read through this. You might say, well, I could just look at the article abstract. That's probably going to give you a good sense of what's in here. But by reading the whole article, you'll be able to come down with the idea that they say, we want to find out if product placement has changed from the good old days to today. If we do it differently or we put different products or whatever. I don't know that that's what's in there. I'm not actually telling you what is in the article. I'm just saying you would need to do that. So then you would just start writing. Okay. Now, amazingly, it has messed with, oh, come on. It's just because I got all that kind of stuff in there. Don't worry about it. That's fine. Don't worry about it. That's a Microsoft Word thing. You'll fix it later. So you put in there, here's what the central question is. And the reason I did that is because you want to be able to tell me, Here is the main thing that they're really looking for. What is the difference between this, that, or the other? Okay. In this, I'm going to kill this. I don't want to delete anything. I just want to get rid of that text. So, we will assume that I've written what I told you before. Past literature. Well, that's going to be go down into the introduction here, and you'll notice that it's got some information here where they're citing past literature. So here's the introduction to the article. And then they're going to talk about product placement, history, and development. And here's where they look at some other stuff, whatever that is. Okay. Now, as they do that, I don't want you to cite the same articles or whatever. I want you to tell me in basic terms what past literature has told them as they try to build on that. And that's what a literature review is all about is, well, what have other people said in the past? So once I figure out what they said, then I can figure out what I need to be able to talk about. So Jones in 1964 wrote this, and Samuelson in 1995 wrote this, and blah, blah, blah. And that's what they're doing. They're not doing a snippet of each article. You'll notice that as you read through scholarly articles. But they don't do snippets. Well, here was an article and it said this. And then here was an article and it said this. And then here was another article and it said, they don't do that. That's just a string of book reviews thrown together. And we don't do that when we're writing scholarly works. Instead, we'll say, now here, you could think of it this way, and other people have. Carr, 1998, Van Buskirk, 2010, or these people all came to these conclusions, blah, 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 blah. Okay? You don't want to be doing those citations in these reviews that we're doing to turn in for this course, okay? What I want you to do here is read through all of the past literature review that they have in there before they start talking about what they actually did, okay? And you'll go through. Sometimes it's a really long literature review, and sometimes it's fairly short, okay? But whatever it is, they've gone through and they've done some sort of discussion. Now, this one, as you read through, I know that your eyes are going, "Wow, slow down." Okay, we're not actually reading through this. What I'm doing here is I'm just showing this one is more a review of historical things, what happened over time. Okay, but I can review all of that. Now, they don't have a methodology per se because they're not doing an experiment. And not all scholarly articles do experiments. Okay. So their past literature review, it's really a lot of literature found with other stuff. But what you could do for methodology is to say, they look through the different studies that happen throughout time, blah, blah, blah. So if they're doing a more theoretical piece or a more discovery piece, that would be a different type of methodology. Now, if they look at, if they do a survey and 72 people do something, well, that's the methodology and results for an empirical type of article. That's not what this article is here. That's perfectly fine. You can find other articles out there. So, a basic review of past literature. Here's what people have said. Methodology, in this case, for this article, you would have a different kind of methodology, but they do a review of stuff and they look at the data for different product placements over time. They go through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Results, in this case, results might be your summarization that um, they have found that in the 20s, there was a lot more product placement of like Goodyear tires, and today it's going to be hair creams or something. Okay, that's fine. You would run through what those results are. What conclusions do they have? Well, you go down to the conclusions section. There we go. Sorry about the picture there, folks, but it's just there. That's what it is. Um, and then you would look at what they come up with conclusions. And you would more or less summarize it, very basically summarize what it is. Okay, what are your three takeaways? After reading this article, what do you think are three things that are important? And that's what I want in your words. I don't want you to summarize the same exact things that they did. That doesn't mean that if they come up with a conclusion, you can't also come up with a conclusion. But what I want is instead three takeaways that after reading this, don't write, I really like the article. Okay, that's not important. Whether you like the article or not is not important to me. What you need to come away with is if you were talking with other people about this, some scholarly discussion, not in all highfalutin, okay, if you were reading this article and then going to talk about it with some other people, what three things could you say that are important things you learned? Did you learn something about the way they did the study? Did you learn an important point that they made? Wow, I didn't really understand that this happened before. Did you learn a new way of writing certain things or a new way of doing some research? What I want you to come up with is your three takeaways from this whole thing. So you've already summarized, you have the abstract here, you have the basic summary of what is the content of the article. Now I want you to do some analysis of your own. And if you feel that the authors have made some improper, I don't mean like they made some nasty stuff. I mean like they drew some conclusions that you don't think really are supported by the evidence. This, in your three takeaways, would be one of those. Or if you think they did it, they were spot on with the conclusion from the data, you could have one of your takeaways be that. But it's not whether or not you like the article or whether you like what their conclusion is. That's not important. You're using data and evidence and analysis to be able to look at this article as a scholar would and be able to draw some conclusions. Folks, that's the kind of thing that I want you to do with uh, these. So take care. Thanks for your patience in this 18 and a half minute video.